Hey everyone, how's it going? Shuffle's back here with another video, and today we have something a little different for you again. We're going to do a top 5 units affected in RTA by the Frenzy changes. So, as many of you know, Frenzy has changed quite a bit since Season 2. We are currently in the preseason. There's about a week and a half to go in the preseason before we start Season 3 in RTA, and I want to go over after playing for a couple weeks in the preseason and seeing a couple of tournaments, I want to go over basically those top 5 units that are either positively or negatively affected by the changes to the frenzy system. For those of you that don't know, basically what happened is one, frenzy accumulates quicker. Two, res is negatively affected. High res is negatively affected later on in fights because you get a lot more effectiveness very quickly. Like at Frenzy, I forget exactly the numbers. I think at Frenzy 4, you get like 50 bonus effectiveness, and once you get up near Frenzy like 8 and 9, you get like 100 to 150 bonus effectiveness. So high res units are going to get debuffed quite easily at that point if you do get to those late Frenzy levels. And finally, probably the most important change is the fact that the mechanic used to be with every frenzy level, damage increases and HP decreases. Now, it's still HP decreases, but its attack increases instead of damage. So, units that did HP based damage, their damage would still go up, as opposed to just the ones that are based on attack. So, let's jump over to the other screen and we'll go over those units. All right, so first one up, coming in at number 5. Whoops. The fifth most affected unit, I think, is going to be Apocalypse Ravi. So, Apocalypse Ravi has always been one of the best units in the game, one of the best bruisers in the game, and her damage is based on HP. So, she doesn't get to the top of this list because of that. But that being said, she goes from, you know, top somewhere in the top 3, top 5 units in RTA, all the way up to potentially number 1. She is the best reviver in the game right now because her revive not only protects the unit but also gives them an instant turn. Plus, she's damn near impossible to kill, and she does huge damage as well, and she self sustains. She basically does it all. She can solo almost any team in the game. I still see a lot of hate around her, and it blows my mind. Because if you ever watch RTA at high level, or if you ever watch any tournaments, you see her soloing everything. And people are completely oblivious to that. You can still deal with her, and Latent Frenzy, her damage will decrease a little bit because it is HP based. But because of her self sustain and her S1 burn and her skill 3 being crazy and her revive, that doesn't affect her as much as you would think. So she falls in at number 5 as one of the heroes that's going to benefit most from this update, or from the frenzy changes. Coming in at number 4 on the list is going to be Fallen Cecilia. So Fallen Cecilia takes a little bit of a hit here. She's still top tier. She's always going to be triple S in the game because she's top in RTA, or she's top. Well, she's still top in RTA, but she's top in Arena. She's top in Guild War. She's just so good everywhere. She was potentially the best unit in the game, or arguably the best unit in the game, coming into these frenzy changes, even in RTA. But now all of a sudden, with the new frenzy changes, her shield over time decreases because HP is decreasing. Her damage isn't increasing anymore. Her damage is actually decreasing over time. Her being high res doesn't do as much anymore because she'll be able to get debuffed over time. Um, Now, is she still top tier in RTA? Yes, of course. She will always be top tier in RTA. But in terms of how much this affects her, she's definitely one of the units that's going to get hit the most. And you're already noticing that there are less Fallen Cecilias in RTA now than there were in Season 2. Um, Now, don't get. I know someone in the comment section is going to say I'm an idiot for saying that because she's still top tier. If you guys see that comment, tell them that I agree with them, and thank you for making such an intelligent comment. Anyway, moving on to number 3. let's move over to Fire. Another interesting one. This one, Fire Charlotte. Now, I think Fire Charlotte gets a huge boost here. Let's take a quick look at her kit, because I know a lot of people don't even know what she does. Attacks with dual swords, increases attack for 1 turn with a, what does that work out to be? 50% chance. Da, 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 increases caster CR by 20% after attacking, and a successful attack with this always results as a crit. So, automatic crit is really nice. You can go crit damage. It also is an AoE. So, I don't even know where that says that. I might be missing it. I don't know. It says it in there somewhere. But oh, there it is. Attacks all enemies on the caster's turn. So this is only on her turn, but it is an AoE. But it is also attack based, and she's very tanky. I wish I could show you a good version of her. I don't have mine built yet, but I think she's going to be one of the units that benefits the most. She does have a skill 3 as well, which also is an AoE. It has a heal block. It's not. It hits hard. Don't get me wrong. It hits really hard. Um, but her passive and her skill 1, I think, are her best skills. Her skill 3 with the her passive with the defense buff for herself. Every time she gets hit, plus it gives her stacks, plus she has the AoE skill 1 that crits. Um, but this allows you to put a lot of stats into HP and defense. And she's an attack-based bruiser, which is why she's going to be so much better now. She's going to be really hard to kill at the beginning, and then once you get to her, if you try and ignore her and you get into Frenzy, her damage will have scaled so much that she's going to potentially one-shot your team at that point in time. And she's also a knight as well. So shows kind of how tanky she is, but she acts like more of a warrior. So keep her in mind. She falls in at number 3. I think she's going to be the third most affected unit by these frenzy changes. Moving on to number 2, we have Ruele. Now, I think Ruele was already falling off high level. A lot of people didn't agree with me and use her a lot, but I feel like those are all the people that were using like Ruele and Friends, kind of like 4 tanks in Ruele, and that was the only way they could win. So, I mean, that's fine, but now with the new Frenzy changes, high res Ruele isn't going to do any good. So, yes, you will resist debuffs on turn 1, but come late in a Frenzy fight, if you try and pick all tanks with her, she's just gonna get debuffed all to hell. Everything's gonna land on her. You could bring like even just like a Crow or an FCC and just provoke her every single turn, and she will be completely useless. Um, I think she falls way down in RTA because of this update. I think you're going to see a lot less of her moving forward. Even in the tournament yesterday, we only saw her 1 or 2 times the entire time. And she goes from one of the most used units in RTA to probably one of the least used units in RTA with these frenzy changes because at high levels, she's either just going to get ignored or she's just going to get killed. So that she comes in at number 2 and one of the most affected units in RTA. Unfortunately for me, I just used my coins to get her last month, so a little bit disappointing there. But other than that, she's going to come in at number 2 on the list. She is still, of course, top tier in Guild War and Arena Defense, but for RTA, she definitely takes a huge hit with this update. And finally, the most affected unit in RTA by the frenzy changes, if I can find her, she currently has a banner running, if you don't already have her, but Fire Ravi. So Fire Ravi is pretty ridiculous right now. She did get a buff that didn't really do much to her, other than draw attention to her. Um, but she's pretty crazy right now. Her skill 1 does damage, self heals. If you have her on Scythe, her skill 3 will heal as well. Plus, it's an AoE stun. Plus, she gets attack bar every time she's hit. She can also now stun with her skill 1. That doesn't really proc all that often, but most people are going to run her on Scythe, and she's going to be a real pain. She can solo a lot of teams as well, similar to her counterpart in A Robbie. Both very, very, very good units, especially now with A lot of nature units out there that people are using. If you want to go up against Valencia, if you want to go up against Landy, if you want to go up against Charles, Ravi is a fantastic answer. And she's going to scale crazy well with these new frenzy changes. And I think she's going to be the most affected unit. I think this frenzy change affects her more than her buff affected her. And we're already seeing a huge influx of Ravis in high level RTA. So that's going to be it for today's list, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to add anybody to this list that you think I forgot, don't forget to comment down below. And subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye for now.